I need to get onto the A1, but the reason I came this way is partly because of road closures on the road that I want to be on, and partly because it's rush hour. It's 5:30 and Friday afternoon, and this road is much quieter generally. I've yet to be proved wrong, of course, which is quite possible. And the MP3's got quite good engine braking. I remember when I went for my test ride, the first time I'd ridden one, and the first time I'd ridden in about 30 years, I remember thinking, good grief, this slows down so rapidly when you let your hand off the throttle. It's actually, I'm quite used to it now. I'm going to pull over past this car here. There is a car coming up behind me, but we'll just have to wait. And there we go. Take my gloves off. I can't get my helmet undone without my gloves off. I need to undo the strap. I need to get this red tether inside here. I need to feed the strap through it, and I need to attach my helmet again, and the red strap, the bit that's left over, tucks underneath this yellow day glow yellow over jacket thing that I'm wearing, and hopefully it won't flap about then. So let's get the sleeves tightened up again, and that glove on, sleeves tightened up again, and we're good to go. So what I do is, when I pull away, is I press the button to take the suspension off its lock, so it's just loose. Check, and off we go. I don't know why I nodded at that lady on the bike, if in fact it was a lady. I'm not convinced, sorry. There's a little place called North Counton, which is quite nice. Nice pub on the left. We're about to come up to the Bees Wing, and then on the right hand side is the post office. Don't use it so much now. Just bear with me and I'll show you these particular things because they're obviously so important. And there's the Bees Wing Inn on the side here. Very nice. And there's our local post office. Nice church. I'm going to take some photos there sometime. Okay, so here we go. Back out into the normal speed limit for the roads. If that makes any sense. Now a lot of people talk about the MP3, particularly the 500, and I suppose nowadays the 300, because the 300 is almost an identical machine, but the 500 being top heavy, it's that long since I've ridden a motorbike. I really don't know what that means. I mean technically I understand what the description means, but to me I'm quite used to riding this now. I think if I'd ridden a motorbike more recently, I probably would have noticed a bigger difference between the handling of that and this. But it's amazingly agile, the MP3, and it does lean on the corners, contrary to popular belief, and it does fall over if you let go of it, because the device that holds the bike upright is an electronic lock, which you have to manually activate. It doesn't automatically activate itself. So for all those of you who think that the bike won't fall over, it clearly will, unless you put it on the lock. And even when you put it on the lock, the bike locks in the position or the angle that the bike comes to stop. So if you put the lock on at 20 degrees angle, it's going to lock at 20 degrees, which is an extremely weird feeling. And at 20 degrees it's approaching the point it's going to tip over anyway. The two wheels at the front are not that far apart. It's not like a spider that never falls over. This thing is it's got two wheels at the front, but they're not that far apart that they won't fall over if it gets to a certain angle, whether the lock's on or not, if that makes sense. You've got to be careful here because people from the left do tend to overtake coming this way, so you can pull out and suddenly find yourself splattered on the front of a vehicle that's overtaking. So acceleration wise, pretty good. It's up to 60 miles an hour there, no bother. I'm sorry if my camera is flicking around a bit. It's because my head is, because I've got an itch. And I can't scratch the itch because obviously I've got a crash helmet on, so I've got to try and move my head around a little bit to cure the itch, which obviously doesn't work. Now I have got a new crash helmet on today. It's an open face helmet, a bit like the boys in blue wear on their police motorbikes. It's incredibly noisy. Much noisier than a normal enclosed full face helmet, so I'm sorry if there's a lot of noise. If it sounds noisy through the microphone, just think what it's like through my ears right now. It's really quite intense. Now a few people have asked about the riding position on this bike. It's actually remarkably sit up, which is probably why I'm getting buffeted by the wind so much. But I suppose really that the MP3 is it's a scooter at heart. It's a maxi scooter, if you like, but it's the size of a respectably big motorbike. So what you tend to find is that when you're riding along, the scooterists ignore you because they think you're not one of them. And the motorcyclists, 90% of them give you a friendly nod, which is nice to be sort of considered to be in the motorbike clan, if you like, when it clearly isn't. But it's a nice thought. And now and again I nod at people and they don't nod back. Tends to be the low rider Harley Davidson crew who obviously think that anything is below them, really. But particularly in MP3. House to let. That's interesting. Like I say, the riding position is glorious. It's a sit up and beg. It's very comfortable. I've got a fly crawling around inside my visor. Hang on. Get out. I think it's gone. So basically, if you've ridden a scooter before, there's footboards down below, and your foot can sit pretty much anywhere there. So it's not like a motorbike where you've got pegs that you sort of position your feet. The pegs go in the little alcove in front of your heel, and that's it. You can put your feet pretty much anywhere you like on these boards, wherever's comfortable for you. The feet are quite high off the ground as opposed to pegs on a motorbike, so you do find that your knees are actually, I'm patting my knees, you probably can't see, your knees are actually quite high up in comparison to the position they'd be on a motorbike with your feet on pegs. I remember when I went for my CBT, a little bit more about that in a minute, but when I went for my CBT, I got on the little 125, and it was a joy to ride. After riding the big 500 MP3 for a while, it was actually quite fun to ride the little 125 Suzuki, Yamaha, whatever it was, for the CBT. But I do remember the position of the 125 was totally different. You were much further to the ground, your feet were much further back. Of course, you had a clutch and gears to contend with, which is not that bad if you've done it before. Whereas this is a twist and go, and you twist and boy does it go. Now the CBT, I took the CBT not because legally I'm obliged to, but it does make a damn good bit of sense to take it, because you do need some riding practice. I mean, when you consider that you can actually climb on one of these 500cc MP3s using just a car license with no requirement whatsoever to go out and have any motorbike training. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to do that. Now, I've ridden motorbikes years ago. I was never very competent on them. I was pleased when I got my car and the motorbike was left behind. So, I mean, to say that I was a newbie was not quite right, but I wasn't far away from being a newbie. It'd been, like I say, 30 years or so since I'd ridden a bike properly. So I decided to do the CBT just to get a bit of practice. And it was the best thing I ever did. You learn so much in just a day's session. In fact, it's half a day riding, if you really think about it. The rest of the day is taken up with practical classroom stuff and lunch. So it was good to take the CBT. Like I say, it's not a requirement. If you pass all the other requirements for driving a CBT or riding a CBT on your car license, i.e. you've passed your test before 2013, you're over a certain age, which passing your test before 2013 obviously automatically makes you above a certain age, 21 or whatever it is. I could be wrong. Don't kill me on that one. Basically, it's still a good idea to get some motorbike training. over the white line, that car. Twat. I do tend to ride quite defensively, or in other words, I'm expecting everybody else to try and kill me, so I try to put myself in a position whereby I can avoid them, or at the very least I can get out of the way if things turn a bit weird. It's quite windy tonight. There's a cracking side wind coming from the left, which is making me keep my wits about me. So you get to an open bit like this and whoa, bloody hell, it's difficult not to get blown towards the traffic on the other side. You just got to be prepared and also not go too fast, to be fair. Don't like that junction. Always slow down. Pisses people off behind me, usually, if there's anybody behind me, which there isn't tonight. Do you know what? I'd rather be safe than have somebody pull out and plough into the side of it. That's the only thing. I'm 56, and if I were to fall off this bike, or if I was to crash into something, or it would be quite difficult to recover from it, I would think. Let's hope I never have to find out. That wind is amazing. Testament to the stability of the MP3, I have to say. I think if that was on a motorbike or a lighter vehicle of any description, it would be quite uncomfortable to stay upright with that wind. Okay, here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. Bishop Auckland, and more importantly Starbucks Coffee House, which is where I'm meeting Colin.